Social media at RadioOnFire. Okay, welcome back to the Father and Son News Show here on RadioOnFire.com. Every Tuesday, I'm here with my father, diving into news stories for the week. And D. Williams, how you doing, Dad?
Good, man. Good. Glad to be here.
I definitely encourage people to, subscribe. Hit the share button, hit the like button, comment. All that interaction really helps the show.
Absolutely.
There's so many things going on.
Yeah.
So many things going on. And I want to start with the former Gun Trace Task Force detective here in Baltimore. Are you familiar with this case?
Yeah, sadly.
And so you don't strike me as being surprised by any of this Gun Trace Task Force stuff.
No, you know what's missing out of conversations, national and local, especially with the police department, is that the police, the president, these are the people who should be above reproach, not just skimming by.
Right.
We're supposed to be looking up to them. We're supposed to try to be like you. You got to be above reproach. You can't be stealing and robbing. This is insane.
Yeah. So, I agree. And the country was promoted like that. Like that's how it was. Or that's how it was supposed to be. That they were, not corruptible. And clean. Right. That's how that's how the paperwork reads, but that's different from the actuality. A former Baltimore police detective, Jamel Raymond, was sentenced today to 12 years in federal prison, and he is the 8th and the final member of the task force to be sentenced. And so he owes $79,000 in restitution as part of this order issued against the former Gun Trace Task Force members. And he pleaded guilty back in 2017, admitting to using his police powers to rob, lie, claim unearned overtime, and commit home invasions.
That's unbelievable.
Home invasions done by the police.
Home invasions. And this is a young guy.
Yeah.
Life is gone.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Coming from a good family.
Right, he did. He did. And he testified against two former colleagues, Detective Herschel and Taylor. So in court, Detective Jamel Raymond cried as his father, who is a retired police officer, described his son's upbringing in a family of teachers and even a principal. Father used the proverb of the prodigal son. Jamel got sidetracked, his father said. So all 8 members, as I said, of this task force now sentenced in a Fed corruption case.
But, we can't act like this is just something that just happened, is a fluke, or we shocked, never heard of it before. It's happening right now, going on all over the country. It hasn't stopped. It just began. It's been going on, and they find it very easy to steal and lie and put their own. Here's a black guy. He's black,
right?
And I'm sure the home invasions were not white people. He invaded their house. It was black people. Right.
And Herschel and Taylor paid the price. They're going to trial. So what they said is that Raymond's criminal conduct was the worst outside of Jenkins. But they said he was one of the worst ones. This guy, one of the worst ones. And look at him now. Look at him now. Like you said, came from a good family.
Yep.
Speaking of family, really putting a black eye on the family as a whole.
Yeah,
You know
and that goes back to what people have gotten away from, is that family name, your pride. That it was a time that people took stock in that name. Oh, you Dwight Williams' son,
right?
And you take pride in that,
Right?
And
right.
so yeah, he's put a black eye on his family. And the father was a retired police officer, and this guy was just like the Wild Wild West against his own people.
Right.
Which is
worse.
horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Like you said, against his own people. And speaking of doing harm to your own people, I think that is a perfect segue into this story about Justice Clarence Thomas.
The quiet one.
Yeah, the quiet one until now. He penned a letter comparing women who obtain abortions to eugenists. And so I never liked this guy. Okay, I never liked this guy. Back when I was young, he was rising up controversy into the Supreme Court. And I didn't like him then. But the Supreme Court has upheld one abortion restriction and deciding to punt on another one in a mixed decision this morning that once again revealed the deep divisions over the future of Roe versus Wade, which is code word for abortion. Whenever you hear people say Roe versus Wade, I know a lot of times people, that language can be lost and people don't know what that means. So this is referring to a 1972 decision about abortion and the legality of abortion, at least in this country at this time. So this decision has allowed people to be able to legally obtain abortions. And most conservatives don't agree with this. And most Democrats, most liberals seem to be what they call pro-choice. So first, 7 justices joined together to uphold the Indiana statute compelling abortion providers to bury or cremate fetal remains. So, I mean, I don't think that I'm across the board on any one thing. This is a very complicated issue.
Yes, it is.
And it's a very complicated issue. So this particular case, the situation was whether or not to dispose of the fetal remains as they would
a normal death.
Like some waste, or whether they would actually give this remains a proper burial. Thus and so treating it as a person. You know what I mean? And I think that decisions like this chip away at the Roe versus Wade decision. Little things here, a little bit here or there. Just give it a proper burial, and then later on you can go back and say, well, if you gave it a proper burial, then you're saying that this is a human, and then saying it's a human, then you can't, you do abortion. If you can't do abortion, and then slowly chip away at it. So the court unanimously refused to review the statute that prohibits women from terminating their pregnancies based on a fetus's sex, race, or disability. And so that particular case they were ruling on a couple different things. So one case, they decided this is our decision, which is the burying of the fetal remains. The other case, which is the Indiana case, they said, we don't decide this right now. And then Clarence Thomas, who, as I said, has had his own controversy, he decided to make a statement about that case. So he made this 20-page letter that attacks women who obtain abortions, calling them callous, bigoted child killers. And so this case is going to be off the docket of the Supreme Court for now. But sooner or later, this is going to be something that they have to face. And I don't remember. I guess it was last year that you said that he never really says anything. I guess maybe it was during the Kavanaugh stuff. We were talking about that. Yeah. Why now? Why does he feel so strongly about this particular? Of course, we got to speculate. But why do you think he chose this to hang his hat on?
Well, maybe I don't know. He might have been waiting for, he's been on the court for 30 years, and he's just been waiting 30 years, and he said, I won't do it this time. I don't know. And sometimes I think maybe is it not as racially motivated, but then again, it could be. Yeah. So I think that he just jumped into it. He might have gotten tired of people saying that he doesn't voice his opinion. He isn't strong on anything. He's just a yes man. Just a yes man.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is. Here he is with his wife.
Beautiful wife. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Mr. Thomas.
That says all you need to know, really. Really. Picture is worth 1,000 words, and so, yeah. The other part that I wanted to address is that he said that women who participate in abortions are willingly participating in eugenicide. So some people may not know what that is. Yeah. And ultimately, that is someone who is trying to add and subtract things to create their own version of a race. Yeah. And
like the Nazis did.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so he believes that women who terminate their pregnancies due to a fetus unwanted characteristics. So some people get abortions because they see early on that the child is going to be some kind of way challenged with physical challenges and things of the such. I have not heard of this, but some people terminating pregnancies based on the sex of the child. I've not heard of that. I'm sure that the percentage is low of that, but in
race, I was shocked at that.
Yeah, I was too, and so I mean, what are your thoughts? Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
Nobody is in favor of willingly aborting. Yeah. Everybody has their reasons, and I'm against it. But I think the people have to have their choice. I can't mandate you drive a blue car. Yeah. I can't mandate you shave your beard.
Here's the thing about this, and I have my views on this have changed, have evolved over time. Yeah. Because when I was younger, obviously not having wisdom that I have now, I made moves that I would not make then, and careless moves. Right. And so, but when I look at it now, I think ultimately, I think that both sides of this debate are right. Now, I think that we just have to come to a common ground as to when is too late. You know what I mean? I think that 5 weeks is too early. You know what I mean? But third trimester is way too late. You know what I mean? So I think that if we could set a agreed upon week age of the fetus and determine anything after this is against the law in every state, then I think that would be a lot better. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that other people, the government should not be making these, dictating this and that. Here's what's so ironic to me. Okay, the main opponents of a woman's right to choose, right? They're pro fetus, right? Those opponents of that are the same people that would take away the government aid to that same mother for that child. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a difficult decision to make. I have been faced with that decision, and I have made that decision before, or been a part of that decision. And I'm saying that it is a difficult decision to make, but you make it usually from the standpoint of, I'm not ready for this. Financially, mentally, something is saying that you're not ready. So if you make that decision, it's a hard decision to make. You know what I mean? But if you make that decision, you're saying, for a reason, I don't think I can raise this child. And then to be forced to bring the child into the world after you have already have second guesses about it, and then the same people that said you have to bring this child in the world will fight you on any government assistance that you're going to get, or could get. Exactly. That's so crazy to me.
And then this child grows up homeless and not having the proper education, and he ends up being deemed a criminal. And then they want to electrocute him, people. And they want to electrocute him and kill him and drag him through the mud.
Right.
And but you know what? Really, this is about, to me, 60% of the abortions in this country are done by white people.
Yeah.
And I think that really what it is that they want their numbers to come back up.
As far as the population?
The population.
On the earth? Or the country?
In this country.
Yeah.
And they know that there's a decline of the white population.
Yeah.
Because they've been having a lot of fun and they've been aborting. And,
oh my goodness.
Even though they try to pin it on us.
Yeah.
And everybody else but themselves.
Everybody else but them.
But themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what it really is to me.
Yeah.
The reason that contradiction comes in,
right?
That we can't explain. It doesn't make sense. If
right.
They blow up abortion clinics and kill doctors, because of performing abortions, and yet, like you just stated, if let this child come in and the mother says, I'm not capable of raising him, and then he ends up in the street and he's wild and he's a criminal, and they want to do everything they want to kill him. So and
then they want to turn and kill him.
Yeah, and then maybe they don't want the doctor to. I mean,
they say if you can't kill him in the operating room, our police have to kill him on the street, or we have to kill him in the jail. That's the only, or he died. That's the only way he can go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because that's the only logical explanation for this dichotomy. This unexplainable contrast.
Yes. Contradiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, contradiction.
Yeah.
And it's
they say in the courtroom, this duplicity.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So moving on. So years after the Central Park Five were exonerated, this President Trump,
I don't believe it.
Still says,
I cannot believe he said it.
Still says that they're guilty, right? Now,
he still says Obama was born.
Right.
So I mean, this guy here.
So Trump indicated that, and this is during the campaign of 2016. Indicated that he still believes that the then 5 teenage boys that were exonerated after being convicted of this brutal 1989 assault of a Central Park jogger still believes that they're guilty, even though they have been completely exonerated.
And this is the same guy who said, I can shoot somebody and nothing gonna happen to me.
Right.
Right. He's
not far from where this assault happened.
Exactly.
Ironically.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
ironically.
Exactly.
So the case against these men, all minorities, and a rape that left the victim, who was white, in a coma, transfixed the nation at the time. Do you remember this case?
Absolutely.
I was a teenager at the time. And I definitely remember this case. And this is at a point in my life where I was not following the news.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anything but the news. Oh my God, the news.
Right.
But it was such a massive case that it was even on our radar as kids.
Right.
Massive case. And being a black male, it was definitely on the radar. Right. So at the time, you remember this, Trump took out full-page ads in New York newspapers calling to bring back the death penalty and said that murderers should suffer and all of this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out after the boys were forced confession by the police, and they were sent to jail, even though there was no DNA evidence to convict them, sent to jail. And in 2002, another man, a serial rapist, confessed to the assault. And his DNA matched that of the crime. He did it.
Mm-hmm.
So this president still at that time said that, they confessed, so they did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was ironic to me that this guy who he always plays the victim, always talks about how he was exonerated by the Mueller report, which he was not.
Right.
Which he was not. And he can't accept any exoneration of anybody else.
Exactly. Anybody that he hadn't won. And it just shows you that 2016, he's still talking about it.
Yeah.
And it just shows you his immaturity.
Yes. Because if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Right. And even the president, when he said he was born in Kenya, he still says,
right.
Well, I don't know. Even though he's seen all the evidence.
Yeah.
But see, this is the kind of person, he won't show you any evidence.
None. Zero.
That people need from him. Like his tax returns or his grades. He's going to question everybody else. Whenever he says something, you got to look at it and throw it back on him.
The exact thing that he's talking about, right. You have to throw that on him.
And when he talks about these boys here, he knows he need to be in jail.
Absolutely. So he said this, and this is 2016. He said that they admitted they were guilty. The police doing the original investigation say they were guilty. The fact that the case was settled with so much evidence against them is outrageous. And the woman so badly injured will never be the same.
And he really hated the fact that they got $40 million.
Almost 41, yeah, but they got $40 million. These guys spent between 6 and 13 years in prison and were all innocent. Mm-hmm.
And they were your age. They were young then.
Yes.
They were your age then, And but that's what they do on the news in this country every day, is to vilify especially black males and the youth, that they're criminals. And you can't help but be in this country, whether you're Asian or Hispanic, whatever you are, you got to look at black people as, I'm kind of scared of them. You have to.
Because of the way that we've been portrayed.
Yeah.
The way we've been portrayed. Yeah. And this is, here is...
That's why RadioOnFire is so important, because you have to control the news that you hear. You can't to accept everything.
Propaganda.
Exactly. And
propaganda.
That's what exactly.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So in 2014, a federal judge approved, as you said, the $40 million settlement for the wrongful conviction of these guys. And I remember this case, this part of the case as well. And these are the guys now. And so when Trump reacted at the time, calling the settlement a disgrace. Now, one of the men, Raymond Santana, he is the gentleman that has a scarf. Mm-hmm. He dismissed Trump's statement as pathetic and said that he's just trying to get publicity, and said that I kind of feel sorry for him. You know what I mean? That just shows you how kind-hearted we can be even after all of that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, I take it like almost like I'm praying for him type of, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's kind of how he delivered that. And what made me even bring this case up as we're closing out is that Netflix released a series called When They See Us, which talks about this case, the Central Park 5, and all that they went through, and Trump's, loud vocal they are guilty discussion and all that. It came out over the weekend, and I encourage people to watch it. As I said, it's on Netflix, and it's called When They See Us.
Yeah, well,
it's about the Central Park Five.
Yeah. But the thing is that it just shows you how pathetic he really is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
very pathetic.
And he is increasingly going to lose support from his core. I believe. I see it. I see it happening.
Yeah.
And because even in New York, if you go back to the 80s when he was in his prime, you know, people in New York loved Donald.
Yeah.
You know, but then over and over it's the same thing over and over. They started. Nobody's blind forever. You know, They started saying this guy's a nut.
And then you can have, you can cook the bird
exactly.
too long.
It's take it out the oven.
You know
it's
what
done.
I mean? They just still here. Just again, more. It's just,
and so that's what's happening to him now.
Yeah.
It's slow.
And he doesn't realize.
No, it's slow. It's a slow process.
But it's going to happen. You still got, another, another year or so of this campaign season, which is something I definitely want to talk about next week. As we get closer, we have the debates coming, and all of that. So that's coming at the end of the month. So I'm excited about that. And So all right, definitely thank you, Dad, for another great show. We'll be back next week, next Tuesday. More topics and more news as always. We're available on demand. Any episodes you missed, RadioOnFire.com/father and son. All right. See you next week.
All right, man. Okay.